Hi there, everybody. Doug from BrainGrid. This week is pretty exciting. It's the 1 year anniversary of the term vibe coding being created. Now, clearly, we've been writing code with AI agents and with AI for longer than a year, but the term vibe coding was coined on February 2nd with a tweet, as that sometimes happens. And so Andre Karpathy describes he's doing this vibe coding where you give into the vibes and you forget that the code even exists. And he calls it vibe coding because all of a sudden the LLMs are getting so good. And he doesn't even have to touch the keyboard. He doesn't need to see the code. He can just ask the AI to do what he calls the dumbest things, and it'll do it. You can see in his tweet that he gets a little extreme, like he's just like, I just take whatever code the AI gives me. I don't even look at the diffs. And, I just throw the error messages back into the AI so that it gets fixed. And then sometimes I don't even understand what the heck is going on, and I just sort of throw stuff at the LLM until it can fix it. Vibe coding is usually a little more rigorous than that, especially if you're a founder and you want to build your own SaaS. Clearly, you're going to be using LLMs, you're going to be talking with them, but you're probably not just going to be quite as cavalier as in this tweet. By the end of the year, vibe coding became the word of the year for Collins Dictionary. So what was the big push? What made vibe coding just explode over the last year? Well, clearly this has been coming for a while. With the Copilot and ChatGPT, people have been throwing code into LLMs for a while. Going back to 2023, he even says the hottest new programming language is English. But what caused vibe coding to take off in 2025? The tools that are out there now read in your entire repository. They take in the entire context of your code. You're able to talk to them. And then the agents have gotten better. And what ends up happening is there are a bunch of agents talking to one another when you type in to your IDE or into your vibe coding tool. So you have planning agents and you have code writing agents and you have agents that check to make sure that everything's working. So instead of just like the AI, you go to ChatGPT and say, build this for me in Python and it spits out some code. It's actually taking that code and comparing it to the existing code and making sure that everything works so that when it comes back with a response, it's useful. And so vibe coding has exploded because the tools underneath have also just exploded, just giving you that much more power and speeding that productivity that for your developers while they're building with AI. Another thing that took off in 2025 are MCPs. And so MCPs let you connect your agents to all the other tools that you're already using. Like you hook up into all your docs, you hook up into GitHub and see your issues. You hook into the database so that when the AI generates a database call, it's actually looking at the right table, the right columns, and giving you the right response so that it all works. It's not boilerplate that you have to fill in after the response comes back. It actually makes the right API calls because it's looking at the API documentation and testing it to make sure that the response works. So with all of the tools and then added an MCP, vibe coding just became so much easier that it's almost second nature. And that's why it's really taken off in the last year. The Stack Overflow study showed that 84% of developers vibe code or are planning to vibe code, and that over 40% do it every single day. One of the biggest problems I've had starting off in vibe coding is just learning what the prompt needs to be. We've all found when you talk to an LLM, if you give it a garbage prompt, you tend to get a garbage response. And so we can't just go in with a one-liner. You sort of have to really describe the problem and how you'd like it to be built. And maybe you aren't a developer, but you still want to vibe code your SaaS. Well, one tool that's out there is BrainGrid. And what BrainGrid lets you do is you can type in that one-word sentence, and BrainGrid looks at that and asks you questions, and then comes up with requirements, and then breaks those requirements into tasks. And so now you can see here I have all of these tasks for my first requirement. And if I look at these tasks, it's a full detailed prompt. This is a much more detailed prompt than I would have written if I were asking the agents to build it. And so by taking these prompts, you get better results back from those vibe coding agents. We call BrainGrid the AI product planner. It can plan out your requirements. It plans out the tasks. With the MCP, you can connect it straight in to your vibe coding tool, and it'll just read those tasks and just bash them out one after another, even while you're asleep. So the advantage of this AI product planner is you get really great prompts. And then with the MCP, those prompts go straight into your AI agents, and you get quality code the first time. You don't end up in that rabbit hole afterwards of trying to fix what the LLMs generated the first time. So what's going to happen in 2026? I think vibe coding is going to continue to accelerate. It hasn't slowed down. We're going to see smarter and smarter agents. We might even see agents that persist over time. So you end up with a front-end agent, you end up with a back-end agent, you have a database agent. Maybe for specific features you have agents, and then those agents can talk to one another as new features come in to make sure that the front end and the databases and the back end and all of those things still continue to work as new features are rolled out. I only see vibe coding becoming more and more powerful and bringing more and more people into becoming developers and creating code. It's super exciting. So in conclusion, happy first birthday to the term vibe coding. And we look forward to walking through this vibe coding journey with you using BrainGrid and all of the other great vibe coding tools that are out there. Thanks for watching.